Hi, my name is Christy Cox. This is more of a walk with story than a walk away story. But I want to talk to you about some hard things tonight. I want to talk about racism. I was born in 1953 in a small southern town. The black citizens of our town lived in their own area. So I was raised segregated. There were no black people at my church. The black kids had their own school. And it wasn't until I was in 7th grade that the schools were integrated. Now, because there was a culture difference, and I want to explain this because I was raised in a very racist environment. My daddy was very racist. All of my family were Democrats. All of the people in my town who had any influence whatsoever were Democrats. And it took me a long time to see, because I was just born into it and I was a kid. But I can remember when I was a little girl that my daddy would say bad things about black people. And as a child, in my heart, I knew it wasn't right. I didn't understand it all. All I can remember at a very young age was thinking to myself, I'm so glad I'm not black, because then everybody would hate me. So believe me, I was born into that kind of attitude and environment. I didn't have it myself, but I didn't have enough experience to really know what I was thinking until the schools were integrated and I got to be friends with black kids. They were angry when they came to school because what happened was they shut down their black school and made them come to the white school in town. So they did not like that and they were mad. And I could understand it, but it was a hard few years. But what I want people to understand is those of us, I was born in 1953, it was the 60s when we had, racial equality started. And those of us who were raised, especially in the South and small towns, we had to work at knowing how to live together. And I can tell you that in 7th grade, when the schools were integrated, by 9th grade, pretty much all of us kids were friends. We had black friends, white friends. It was a couple of years for our cultures to meld together at school. But it did happen. And I can tell you that of all the friends that I have that are my age now in their 60s, none of them are racist. We are constantly being, if we're white, we're being called racist. And I can tell you, I can feel that just out in the world, going to work and going to the mall or whatever, the looks that I get from black people are telling me that they do hate. They hate white. And we've got to stop this. I can tell you that all of us who grew up in the 60s, we worked at getting rid of racism. We worked at everybody getting along. And we were there until Obama became president. And he started throwing the race card out there, and I could see the difference out in society. I could see it. Somehow, we've got to get together. Now, this WalkAway campaign, I joined it as soon as I saw it. And the main reason I joined it was because all of the videos were giving me hope. I worry about socialism in this country. I worry about terrorism. I worry about my grandchildren growing up in a free country that I grew up in. And when I was pretty young, I realized I was a Republican. When I turned 19, they had changed the voting age to 18. So I went down to register to vote. I knew nothing about politics. My mother told me to register Democrat. So I did. At the time, I didn't understand what that meant. And it was later, one day, when somehow this paper landed in my hand, and it told the differences between the Democrat Party and the Republican Party on key issues. And as I read that paper, I realized that on the Republican side, I agreed with all but two. On the Democrat side, I disagreed with all but two. So in my heart, I said, maybe I'm a Republican. Well, I had an older sister, and she was a Republican. I didn't really know what that meant, and we had never really talked politics, but I called her. She lived in upstate New York. I called her, and I told her about reading that paper. And she's the one that helped me work through my beliefs and thoughts to decide if I was conservative or liberal. I'm definitely conservative. And thank you, God, I raised my children that way, and they agree with me and all of my grandchildren. So when we all get together, we're on the same page politically. And that makes it really nice. I only have a few friends that are liberal, and they're not very nice. Some of them right now, though, aren't saying much, so I'm wondering if they're having second thoughts. But I just want to say I love this WalkAway campaign, and I really think that the two things, and I just realized this lately, the two things of commonality in this WalkAway campaign, it doesn't have anything to do with color. It has to do with love and patriotism. If you have love in your heart and want more love in the world, and if you love this country, then you fit right in to this WalkAway campaign. And I really have a lot of hope that the WalkAway campaign will bring more and more people from the left to the right when they realize that the left right now does not represent any love at all for this country, or and they're supporting is socialism. They're going to ruin the country, and I'm hoping that good people who maybe just aren't awake yet will wake up and come home to the place of patriotism and love. Well, thanks for hearing my story.